right, so we are just about ready to roll. Welcome to the second day of our Alkali Beauty Alka Live event. My name is Danielle D'Alessio. I am the Director of Education. I am so excited to be hosting today. Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone that's on here that from now until March 31st, you will receive 55% off of $50 or more on your purchases of Alkali Beauty using the code ALKALIVE. Everyone is also going to be entered to win a pair of shark fin shears today. Alkali and shark fin shears. And I am really excited because I'll be doing that raffle at the end of the day. So just make sure that you guys are all popping on to the Alkali Beauty stories today. And now I am going to turn this over to our super fabulous rainbow barber over here, Jordan. You all ready for us?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. I'm so excited.
Cool. So my name is Jordan, and yeah, Danielle basically already said everything that I was going to say. I'm a rainbow barber, and today we're going to be doing a clipper cut into a pompadour. And I kind of got started a little bit already on one side. Do you need me to bring you guys closer, or?
Yeah, a little bit closer would be fantastic if you can swing that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, is that better?
I think that's perfect. How are we doing with this, guys? Good? Yeah.
I can move this a little bit this way. Oh, I can't. There we go. Is that better?
I think that's perfect. And someone said you have a really cute outfit on.
I don't know who that was, but thank you. All right. So I can show you guys a little bit of what we're going to do. Let me spin this guy around. I have to put my chair on like the lowest possible setting because I'm short. So
I know that struggle.
I know this finished result here. We're going to be blending this into the top and creating a lot of volume. But first, I got to marry it. So I'm going to go in with my trimmer. And I'm looking in the mirror here, and I'm kind of just eyeballing like where my line starts. So I just kind of go up from the bottom.
Would you be able to turn him so we could see how you're doing the back a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. Perfect.
Because I'm going to be going all the way around real quick. So maybe if I just turn him
just a smidge.
Because
I feel like this is the scariest part of barbering for especially like I think for me, where you're like, oh my God, I'm cutting all of this and now there's all this hair left. So I'm excited to see how you blend this.
Nah, I just like getting bulk out, man. Like it's so satisfying to me. Like one of my favorite things actually is with barber is shaving. And
really?
Oh yeah. It's like, you ever see one of those videos where like, somebody's power washing a set of stairs and it's just like all clean at the end? It's so satisfying.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of going in, creating some kind of line. We're just trying to get hair off like around the corners of the ears and stuff. And I'm weird with my fades. Like a lot of barbers like to fade up, down, or like from the bottom up. I like to like start from either end and then be in the middle when it comes to a fade.
Oh, okay.
So at the bottom, I'm going to go in with a 2. And we're just going to get rid of all this stuff on the top. Or at least the bottom.
So now what kind of clippers are you using there?
So these are a special edition Wall Senior. I actually had to order these from a friend of mine because they were like a collector's item and they were hard to find for a while.
But that's super cool.
Yeah, but they run the same as any like 𝒘𝒊𝒆 Wall Senior. All right, cool. So now that I can see a little bit more of my line, I'm going to clean it up a little bit. And this is a 𝒂𝒊𝒆 effects trimmer, by the way. A lot of people like to use the skeleton trimmers, and I do love them. But like for something like this, it's a little abrasive, I find.
Okay.
This is a little bit gentler.
So now, as someone who specializes in doing barbering, what makes for a great trimmer?
Sorry?
So as someone who specializes in barbering, what makes for like a great trimmer? Like, what is it that you're looking for when you like kind of seek out your tools for stuff like that?
It depends. Like, I want something that's sharp and that cuts very quickly.
Okay.
Like something like the effects trimmer is really good for removing a lot of bulk, like I was just doing. I wouldn't necessarily use that for like lining unless I was doing it on somebody who was like elderly or somebody like a kid that had sensitive skin. But generally I like, yeah, I can actually show you what I use for a trimmer. But I use the skeleton by 𝒂𝒊𝒆, and I get way cleaner lines with that than I do out of the other one.
Oh, very cool.
So now we're going in.
Perfect.
This is the 0 open. And we're just going to follow that line. Kind of like nipping away at it. Going about a quarter of the way up. Or a quarter of an inch of the way up, I'm sorry. And then we're going to close our 0 and kind of go back in and blend a little bit.
So before you got started doing all your buzzer and clipper work and stuff, did you do anything to prep your model?
Yeah, so we actually, we had a little experiment today. We actually did his color before we did this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of gray going on. So we blended it a little bit and added some highlights that we'll see more when it's dry.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a technique for like big voluminous styles like Pompadours and comb-overs that I use specifically for highlighting them. So it'll be interesting. This is a 1 open. And again, pulling down from the top and then meeting down where that open 0 was. Kind of going along, pushing it. As far as like the placement on a fade, like you can always use the temples as a reference and go along the curve of the head. That's usually what I like to try to do. If you're not sure where to place it and the client doesn't know, this is a good way to start. You can always push it up or stretch it out from here.
And if anybody has any questions, please type them into the chat so that way I can kind of shout them out at Jordan.
All right. But then, you know, we're going to bounce back down to the bottom. So we have the 1 open, we're going to go down to the half. I'm actually going to go in with this closed too, just because I know the half isn't going to touch that. But the half open isn't going to touch that. Yeah, a lot of it is just kind of doing things like as needed. I'm using my clippers on different angles too as I go. So sometimes I'll push a little bit up and I'll just kind of like rock the heel of the clipper against the head. It'll kind of cut off like this little like sticky outy bits on the ends. You can also go in, lay them out like that. and like cut a little bit more bulk off. So if you're trying to pick out a line and it's just not moving, try adjusting the angle of your blade. Cool.
It's so crazy. I feel like you took that from something that looked really scary to something that's looking really, really well blended in like a matter of 5 minutes. Like, that's so cool.
Kind of just, you know, like I said, like a visual thing. Where it needs it is where you put your clippers. You don't have to go over the whole thing a million times. Doing one side and then doing the other is actually a great way to do clipper cuts, because not only are you like not having to carry that line the whole way around, one side's done. You know, like you can get one side that maybe is not like your dominant side, or like a side that you have a little bit of trouble with, get that out of the way and then breeze through the side that's easy.
Oh, that's a really good tip. I like that.
So this is something that I do that not a lot of barbers do. And I point cut my fades. So we go straight vertical up against the head. And just kind of pick at it. I like using this for clients that have like, you know, dark spots, or like clients that are gray and like have maybe like darker patches here and there. Nobody has a perfectly round head. Everybody's got like divots and bumps and all sorts of things. So you want to try to make that look as seamless as we can.
Everyone's like, oh, that's an interesting technique.
Yeah. But it's really good. Like I wouldn't use it to blend the whole head, but just like little areas like in here where there's a little bit of darkness I didn't like. A lot of people have two like bumps right in the sides here where the head like bends. That's very common.
Oh, that's super cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't want to pick at that too much more. I'm actually doing a lot more dry cleansing now, because I'm noticing a lot more people have these curl patterns in their cowlicks and stuff that really need a wide berth. So I'm going to leave that for a little bit. Now I get to move into my favorite part. Just doing the top. This is where the fun happens. I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna like bevel my comb out a little bit as I go. You see that? Where I'm kind of like just kind of getting those ends there.
This is so satisfying to watch.
This is what I love doing this. Like, I don't know, it's almost like watching like somebody pull out like a perfectly like saturated highlight or something. I don't know.
It really is. This is definitely like all that good stuff that I like to see on like TikTok and on like my Instagram reels, just watching haircut transformations. But that looks awesome.
Like there's a big market of like ASMR, like haircut and like barbershop videos, and I can totally see why. Like it's just pleasant white noise a lot of the time.
You know, now that we're seeing you do this, you know, you're going to have to make Nicole a bunch of TikToks. Just throwing that one out there.
I'm behind, man. I need to get with the times. All right, so the most important thing with a pompadour isn't necessarily here. It's making this all go back right here. This area is typically the place you get a lot of, you know, trouble. A lot of people have issues blending it in the back here. And typically your reason is just because it's not long enough. You know, I gave this a very deep, like, you know, little V here. I'm gonna give this a wide berth, whether he has a cowlick or not. The more hair you have to work with, the better in this case. So, in order to blend this in, what I'm going to do is part it down the middle and pull it out to either side. And we're just going to blend this way. The other side is not blended, by the way, so we're gonna have to do that too. If you want me to swing, swing them around, I can do that.
Yeah, when you get to that side and you want to swing them around, that'd be great.
See how little they're taken off here on these sides? Like maybe a quarter of an inch. You had this done about a month ago. And as you go, it's not a bad idea. Actually, I'm gonna leave that out to go back with it and over direct it. And I'm gonna leave that alone.
Oh, perfect. Someone just wants you to repeat what trimmers you use.
So for the bottom, I use 𝒊𝒊𝒆 FX trimmer. They're not very popular, believe it or not. They're actually pretty cheap, but for mowing down hair, they do a pretty good job. And also, those things are like the Nokia phones of trimmers. Like,
oh
I've dropped the stairs, I've kicked it out the car. Like, the thing's indestructible. So there's that. I wouldn't do that with a skeleton trimmer. That'll break and it's scary.
Okay.
But just so you know, if you're the kind of person that lugs all their stuff around, it's a good one to have. All right, so we're going to continue blending into the back. And in the back, we're actually going to continue that part. So we're gonna keep it going to either side. And the reason being is that if he has a cowlick, even if I push it around, it'll have plenty of room to go wherever it wants. So we're gonna go and blend in this way.
Now, while you're blending this, I just wanted to mention that starting today, we actually have Alkamob auditions, which is so exciting.
I just saw that it started today, and I believe it goes till my birthday, April 15th.
Yes. Oh my, what a birthday gift. You get to see everyone being picked or put in the Alkamob. That's awesome.
It was all planned for me, I know it.
You know what? We do it all for you, Jordan.
Yeah, just kind of, you can tilt your head a little bit. Thank you. Yeah, I do a lot of scissor over comb again, flipping the comb out, like I'd say at a 45-degree angle towards yourself, right under the occipital. If you go too high, like above the occipital, it's going to stick straight out. You're not going to get the same, like, kind of curve result here.
That is exactly where I always go wrong. So that's a good tip.
Yep. And this applies to any guy's haircut. Like, you could incorporate this into, your standard, like, clip around the sides and just blend on the top end. If he's got a stubborn cowlick, leave it alone. Give it a wide berth. Get rid of it when it's dry. All right, and same thing on the side. Quiet.
Yeah, so I know we were just mentioning with the Alkamob auditions, we also, if you are part of the Alkamob, you get a lot of really cool perks and support and all that good stuff. And we have a couple of mob exclusive things going on. So we have Alchemist of the Year auditions that are going to be opened up until July. And we're going to be announcing the winner at our symposium that's going to be in California in September. So I am excited for all of the things. I'm excited to see humans again in California.
Oh my God.
which is going to be so good. And I'm excited to see everybody entering Alchemist of the Year because I live for seeing everyone's auditions and their work.
I know it looks kind of weird with the front sectioned out like that, but I have a point. I'll get there in a minute.
You're doing good.
Cool. Yeah, no, we're just kind of going in, blending, you know, making sure everything is ship shape. All right. I'm gonna leave that alone too. Cool. There's still a weight line in some areas, that's fine. I want to give this top some volume and see how it falls before we kill it, you know, do anything about that. I said we kill that line, that's what we say in here. Say it all the time. So now we're gonna address this top. We're gonna take a vertical section and see how far back we can go with it. So if this can reach to the crown here, you got a real good pompadour going.
Awesome.
That is how you know. If it's not long enough, it's not gonna fold back on itself and it's gonna fall apart. So it looks like a lot of hair. We're gonna blend this backwards into here. Then plenty of length up at the top.
So now for a cut like this, is there an ideal like hair type or like texture or something to that? Or is this something that you feel like works for pretty much anybody?
This can work for pretty much anyone as long as you're committed to styling it. This is not something you can wash and go with, unfortunately. This is gonna require a little bit of maintenance. But I've done this for people with curly hair. He actually has a bit of wave in his, which is awesome. I've done this for honestly anybody who's willing to rock a middle part, which right now is super popular. So that falls into a lot of people's categories, I guess. So right now we're just kind of like making sure everything is even. I'm going in, taking horizontal sections throughout the front and just blending, point cutting, making sure, you know, everything's balanced.
No, it's looking great.
Right? It's starting to shape up, right? A little bit.
Oh, for sure.
All right. One of the things I love to do when I go to style it is prep it with something first. So something like big or grip that's going to provide a little bit of hold. I think I'm going. Oh, I like this because it's so easy to work with. Sweet.
They love that you use big for a men's cut.
Oh yeah, I use everything. I don't care.
Whatever gets results, and big gets some results.
Yo, if you want to look like Johnny Bravo, by all means, I'm for it. Like, it'll get to there. But this is actually grip, which is actually lanolin based as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so it provides the same amount of like moisture in the body. It's just a little bit more workable into the root area. Mm-hmm.
Would you mind angling yourself so we could see you blow drying the back a little bit? This is looking so good.
Looking on to the other side. We still got that weight line in there, so we're not quite done yet. We're gonna go back into it.
But it's so nice how you see that shape kind of transforming there. Like, looking really great.
Too, a lot of those highlights start to come out as it dries.
Yeah, that looks so good. I feel like we're all ready to rush out and start doing some men's cuts after this.
One more time, just because I have shorts and I can't.
Everyone's saying you're making it look so easy.
I'm just having fun doing it. It's the thing. The Pompadours are hard. They're challenging to both maintain and give to people. But honestly, if you love doing it, like it's difficult. So for the front, we could go one of two ways. I like to blow dry down and then flip it up because that gets you sky high volume. That'll, make you see juice. But if you want something a little bit more wearable on the day-to-day, you could just blow it back, just like you did with the rest of it. But I'm gonna
Look at that volume you've got there. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. And Jordan, if you can just turn your dryer down for a hot second. Someone was asking what brushes you prefer to blow dry with.
I have absolutely no preference, believe it or not. That brush I was just using, I got from the dollar store.
Stop, really?
For men's hair, you're not doing a lot. You just need something that'll work, basically. And believe it or not, the cheap, this kind of brush, this cheap, plastic kind of bristle situation, I love this for Pompadours.
That's so funny. I'm just gonna let you know too, you're just about at your half-hour mark.
Oh, perfect.
And you are just making magic happen before our eyes, and I'm loving it.
Awesome. But yeah, so I'm actually not going to use these quite yet. We're going to go back in and blend with our thinning shears, blenders.
Perfect.
And then we'll finish this off
I am so impressed with the amount of volume that you have in his hair. It looks phenomenal. You're not even done and it looks so good.
This hair is great to begin with. So like, you know, we got a good foundation here, but adding something at the beginning, like grip or big or whatever, helps tremendously.
For sure. You got to build that architecture and get that style set in there.
You need a solid foundation.
For sure. Everyone's like shook by your dollar store brushes. And then someone just said the inexpensive brushes are like totally fine for styling men's hair. I'm like, that's so funny.
Oh yeah, like it's, you know, whatever works. My boss actually uses a brush that I used in school, like that came in my kit.
Oh my gosh.
It's fine. It's really like if you're going to splurge on equipment. Oh, I should probably transparent.
Yeah.
Your clippers are gonna be your biggest investment for sure.
You know, when you're done with this, I may just want you to post in your stories about like the products you picked and also your tools, because we're all nosy.
What else do you guys want to know? Like what other products? Like I use pretty much all of the pucks, like on the regular in the barbershop. And this I'm going to go in real quick and just kind of like blend in some of these curls that are sticking a little bit. Because like on my curly guys, especially like for people that have like really short curly hair, I love using like Naked. Fantastic. You need a tiny bit, move your hands around in your hair, and then that's it. You know.
Naked's definitely one of my favorites. I use that on long hair and short hair. This stuff's amazing.
Absolutely. But I use grip a lot as a base for a lot of like, you know, comb overs, pompadours, things like that.
You know, it's so funny with the grip though. Dawn, who did the blowout class yesterday, was using grip in her blowout. I would have never thought to do that. And now I'm seeing everybody doing that. And I'm like, I need to try this. That's such a cool tip.
Do it, man. All right. So this kind of brush is super great if you want it nice and smooth. And I'll show you kind of what that does real quick. I kind of don't want to have them wear it smooth, but because you guys are curious, I'll show you.
How often are your men's cuts coming in? Like, do they come like once a month, or do you do like, do they get like a weekly shape up? Like, how does that work for cuts like this?
I do it real quick here, but it depends. Like for something like this, I suggest every like 6 to 8 weeks at the most. You know, it depends on how tight you want to keep your sides.
Okay.
I have a lot of like military people, cops that come in every other week because they have to keep it tight, you know?
Oh, wow.
You'll get people every 2 weeks, and then, you know, some guys will come in like twice a year. But on average, it's about a month and a half.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
It's kind of cool. Like if anybody's thinking about like, oh, I don't know if I should do barbering or styling or one or the other. And like, you know, a lot of people are concerned like, oh, you know, it's a low ticket service. Like you're not going to have as many like people, the tips aren't going to be as good. No way, man. Like you can knock out a highlight in what, like hour and a half, make $100, $150 about, and like get a $10 tip maybe. Or you could do 3 men's haircuts at $30 a piece. They'll each tip you $10. And you can talk them into stuff like this. Because men, for the majority of my experience, are looking for guidance. They don't know. They're clueless and they're excited that somebody else is telling them what to do. Women, not so much. They're, they'll take the initiative a little bit more and do some research, and they'll come in with an idea. Men will sit down and go, just make it short. It's a little more fun, in my opinion.
That's a really good point. I would have never thought of approaching it that way, but especially in a business sense. And that makes a really good point. I love that. Thank you for telling us.
Oh, for sure. You can still make a ton of money doing barbering, for sure. Don't worry about that, because not only are your clients coming in more often, they're better tippers.
All right. So what are we spraying in there, Jordan?
So this is harder. I think we mentioned that before, but I'm going to dry this really quick just so it's not going to go anywhere. But I love hardener. I use this stuff I stole this from my house. People at my salon used it all up and threw the big can I had away. So I had to use my little tiny one.
How dare they? Oh, wow. Look at that shape. That looks so good. So polished looking. Someone was asking, do women ever come in for barbering?
Oh, yeah. We get women all the time that have side shades like I have, or they do designs and stuff on their undercuts.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have a few ladies that get fades that just like it. So, hey, more power to them.
So someone's also asking, do you charge women more than what you would charge men for a barbering service?
I'm sorry?
Someone was saying, do you charge women more than you would charge men for a barbering service?
No. Takes the same amount of time. Unless they wanted something that was really involved. No. But it really, in my opinion, it doesn't matter. I have a lot of high maintenance guys that come in here. Yeah, this is pretty much it. I'm gonna kind of let him rock his natural curl in here because it seems to want to come out, and I'm all about it. But it's not going anywhere. The shape's gonna hold. He's just gonna have his texture.
That looks really great.
Yeah. Me spinning around actually. This mat is the worst because it's only on half of the floor. But
oh, look at that.
There we go, man.
That looks amazing. Oh my gosh. I think everybody's hyped about this cut. This looks awesome.
And the nice thing about the way this is styled is that this is gonna hold no matter what he's doing. You can move this around, the wind will blow, you can stick your head outside the door, going 80 miles an hour down the highway. Whatever you're doing, you can move this around and it'll stay.
Wow. That looks phenomenal. Jordan, you killed it, girl.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for dropping in and, you know, learning a thing or two. I hope it was educational for somebody.
Oh yeah. It was educational for me. So I'm sure everybody else was learning a lot of tips and stuff too. This is awesome. Yeah, everyone's like awesomeness.
Oh, well, if anybody uses these techniques or tips or anything, tag Alkali Beauty. Like, we love to see it. I love to see it. Like, DM me. I'm all about it. So, yeah.
Perfect. And make sure you take some after photos too, so we can hype you up.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Alkali Beauty for setting this up. And yeah, thank you. It's been really fun.
Perfect. All right, guys, we're going to close this out. Thank you again, Jordan. You were phenomenal, and this cut looks amazing. We'll stay tuned, and we'll have, I believe, Krista's up next for some vivids, and it's going to be an awesome day. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye, Jordan.